All right, what is going on, boys and girls? The Metal Hellbilly here, and I am going to do an album ranking of the Swedish progressive power metal band Evergrey. I don't know if I'd actually call them progressive power metal, but that's what they're listed as. Let's just go with melodic metal. I think that is a little bit more fitting, but that is what we are going to be doing today. So buckle in, boys and girls. We're going to have a lot of fun. This is going to rule. Let me go ahead and share my screen because sharing is caring. Should I do it as a background? Yeah, I think I'll do it as background. You might not be able to see as well. Let me see if I can put my stupid head over here. There we go. Moving my stupid head. All right. So let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling here. Hopefully that is doing what it's supposed to be doing. If not, we're in trouble of sorts here. So let me I think they might have changed the order of everything here. Everything has changed in the order. That's all right. I'm gonna make it work. Okay. So let's go ahead and figure this out here. So they became a band in 1993. We're already off to a really good start, and they released their first studio album in 1998 entitled The Dark Discovery. So The Dark Discovery comes out, and it's all right. It's nothing crazy or amazing. It it is what it is. It's a solid album, but it's not what the band is going to eventually become. And I'm going to piss a lot of people off here, but I'm going to go ahead and put it at D tier. Now, keeping in mind that this does not mean it's a terrible album. This means that in the context of Evergrey's rankings, I put this all the way at the bottom because this is my least favorite. It's not what Evergrey is known to be nowadays. And I think that they just really developed a lot more over the years compared to that particular album, that offering. It's good, but it's not something that I really do return to very often. Then in 1999, so a very short time later, they released their follow-up sophomore album, Solitude, Dominance, Tragedy. This is a step up. They're starting to move in the right direction. They're starting to kind of form their own sound. It's still a bit generic. Thomas England, who I think has some of the best vocals in metal nowadays. I know he's not super skilled, but the runs that he does nowadays, I love them, and they just weren't really here yet. And he was still developing as an artist, so was the band. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that a step up in C tier. Come at me, bro. I still like it, but I mean it's nothing I really do return to that often. All right, so they decided, hey, you know what? We did that after 1 year. What happens when we take 2 years and we come back with an album called In Search of Truth? So In Search of Truth, I feel really is starting to craft that Evergrey sound. They're starting to really expand into what they've become now. And it definitely is a step up from the prior two releases. It's still not quite there yet, but I like where they're going with this. And I do revisit this one from time to time. So at the very least, it has that. And very interestingly, it goes to B tier. It seems like we are just going one by one up a step ladder here. And, you really can't ask for more. I think if I were to do a cattle decapitation discography ranking, I think we would see something very similar here, where they just like continue to improve with each and every release. That's just personal opinion here. So they take another 2 years off and they come up with their next album, Recreation Day. Recreation Day is a good album. I do enjoy it. I do return to it from time to time. Not quite as often as some of the albums that are going to come up later on in this ranking, but it's a good release nonetheless. And like I said, it's one that I would certainly return to. So, with that being said, it takes another step up and it lands itself in A tier. Look at that, climbing the ladder. Way to go, Evergrey. You are absolutely crushing it. That is the way to go. Instead of like Caleb Williams sometimes running backwards, dude, is a 24-yard sack, 24-yard loss on that sack. That was not a good idea, bro. Not a good idea. But I digress. It hurts being a Bears fan. 1 year later, you know what? Maybe it was a fluke. Last time we took only 1 year between albums. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe this time things are going to be better if we just take 1 year and we come out with an album. And they were absolutely incorrect. This is almost their worst album, in my opinion. I don't like this album. I don't know what it is. Just nothing sticks with me. It doesn't really have any standout moments for me. Sure, everything's competent. There's good, decent songwriting, but it's not one that I ever find myself returning to. And I feel like it just isn't for me. It's just one of those albums where it's like, I could think of 12 other albums by this band that I would probably reach for prior to that one. So that's where it sits in the ranking for me. So they said, hey, you know what? 2 years. Let's do 2 years. 2 years was working before. And they released what is honestly their most divisive album in Monday Morning Apocalypse because there's some butt rock on here. But for some reason, for me, when Evergrey does butt rock, it rocks my butt. So it's probably a bad. It was bad. I should have thought of something else to say. So why didn't you warn me? You should have warned me in the comments before anyhow. I like Monday Morning Apocalypse. I think it's a decent album. At first I was like, oh, it fucking sounds like I'm listening to Nickelback or something, and Nickel Gray, and but you know what? All in all, I like it. If you've only spent a little bit of time with it and you were turned off by the butt rockiness, I encourage you to give it a couple more spins. Have it on in the background. See if you don't start nodding your head. See if those freaking choruses don't start infecting your blood with their butt rockiness. I mean, it's a solid album. I like it. Come at me, bro. Let me know in the comments how much of a horrible human being I am now because I actually like that album. I don't care. Really don't. So they didn't really get a good reception from that. And 2 years later, they decided to go back to their old style, kind of, and they released the album called Torn. Now, to say I'd be torn as to whether or not I find this a good album would be absolutely incorrect. It would have nothing to do with it. I just wanted to say that because I thought it would be a good segue, and yeah, I was right. It worked, kind of. But Torn will earn its keep here at the top of A tier. I mean B tier, I'm sorry, almost edging on A tier. It's like it's edging, it's like it's getting there and it's like and it busts its nut right before it gets to A. I really should just not talk sometimes. Can I do this in like interpretive dance? Would you know what the next one is if I did this? Oh, probably. I guess I gotta speak. Sorry, y'all. You gotta hear my stupid voice. I apologize. A Torn, good album. I'm not torn as to whether or not I think it's a good album. I think it rules. It's great. I go back to it from time to time. And then 2011 comes along and they go, let's kaleidoscope with the studio again. Kaleidoscope was not a word I should have used there. And they release Glorious Collision. And to me, it's just mid. It's not that great. I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't know. It just doesn't really do anything for me. And it's a little bit too long in the tooth. It's just over an hour long. Trim some of the fat, and then talk to me, Evergrey. Like, if this relationship is going to work, you need to lean up a little bit. Okay, getting a little bit pudgy there, and like if I got to grab a bag of water, flour to find the wet spot, it's this ain't gonna work. I gotta don't have a really big one, so penetration is gonna be a challenge. Again, why am I talking? Not a great album. It's not bad, but it ain't good. It ain't good. So they decide, okay, we need a little bit of a longer break. Let's take 3 years. Let's see what happens if we come back in 2014 and shock the world with another long ass album, over an hour long again. They have a tendency to do this, but for whatever reason, this time it worked. Hymns for the Broken, A tier, class act, great album. I mean, the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the album is kind of a throwaway. It's an intro. I mean, it's a song. It's weird. It's not quite a song. You know what I mean? But it works in the context of the album. I like this. Very catchy. It has a nice balance of some harder, grittier stuff with the softer, more emotive, atmospheric moments that Evergrey is known for nowadays. And their sound is really, really here on this album. And it's something that I do like to listen to from time to time. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would definitely put it on again. It's not my favorite, but we are getting there. We're getting there. So 2 years later, and I was actually just listening to this like 3 days ago when I was getting ready to do this ranking. The Storm Within. The Storm Within was one that, other than the intro track Distance, which really grabbed me right away and pulled me in, it really didn't sit well with me. It just didn't stick. Nothing stuck. But I don't know what the hell happened recently. It really has grown on me. You know what? Let me know. And it's going to A tier, by the way, if you didn't see that. Let me know in the comments. Is there like an album that you could think of where at first you weren't too keen on it, and then it started to give its hooks into you, and then it started to grow and fester like a fucking disease. Pretty soon you're like, I need it. I need more of that fucking album. And then you turn into a demonic storm within lover. Just me. No, but seriously, let me know in the comments. Is there an album by a band that kind of did this to you? Because I could go back to this. I could listen to it again and again. I'd be happy. I'd be happy camper. 3 years. All right, let's take 3 years. I mean, we did all right with that one. Let's knock it out of the park with this one, especially with the artwork here on Atlantic. The Atlantic is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's a lean for them 53 minutes, 54. I mean, it has an instrumental in there, which is only about a minute long. The title, I think it's called. It's a good instrumental. But with that being said, what do I actually think of The Atlantic? Is it a good album? It certainly is. Top of A tier. Almost S tier. This one's edging as well. Bust its nut right before an S minus. Shame on you, Atlantic. If you would have trimmed a couple minutes off of this, which sounds counterintuitive, you probably would have lasted longer and you would have made it to climax at S tier. Just saying, bro. Like sometimes you gotta slow down to go fast. That was that was a tip when I raced motocross. Sometimes you got to slow down to go faster. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, I charge everything way too hard and I act like a maniac when I'm riding. That's what it is. So, that's not what this is about. Anywho, great album. And then they took another 2 year break, and they're pretty consistent here, as you can tell. Escape of the Phoenix comes out in 2021. And mixed results for a lot of people on this one. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I absolutely adore this album. It's S tier. This is superb. This is what I come to Evergrey for. This is what I love about this band. Hooks galore, catchy choruses. This is the Evergrey that I adore. It is just so damn good. One of my favorite albums by them. I never grow tired of it. I've listened to it hundreds of times, and it still is something that I keep in my rotation to this day. Then, 1 year later, A Heartless Portrait, the Orphean Testament comes out. And I gotta say, it rules. It rules. I like this album a lot. If I, it is so close to being an A plus plus plus, but I'm gonna put it at S tier because though it doesn't hold as many of the great moments as some of their prior albums, this is one of those records that I listened to at a certain period of time in my life when I absolutely needed to hear that. I mean, have you ever experienced that? Like an album could be something that is just like, it's okay, but it touches you in a certain way. Because like I remember at one point I was listening to this. I swear I felt like a little tickling on my balls. You know what I mean? And like a nut hairs started to quiver a little bit. Eh, no, just me. But it really did speak to me in a way emotionally where I certainly needed that. And it stuck with me to today. I was going through some shit, and life was changing before my eyes, and I had no control over it. But this album kept me grounded. So absolutely adore it. Now you might notice that this tier list does not have Theories of Emptiness on it. I know. Boo, but it came out in 2024. I love that album. It's not as heavy as our other stuff. If I were to put it up here, it'd be at the bottom of S tier. It'd be really close. It's neck and neck with Escape of the Phoenix. It's right there with it. It could grow on me with time, but I absolutely do love the album. And this is a great band. If you have never listened to them, you are absolutely missing out. But I would like to know, what is your favorite Evergrey album? Let me know below. Make sure that you do give this video a like. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Share this with your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandma's dog, your grandma's dog's butthole, because I don't have enough buttholes subbed here. Been kind of an asshole myself. So, anywho, that's it for me, Metal Hellbilly. Signing out. Sayonara. Bye. See you later. Bye.